What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the first video of the weekend leading into the madness at Darkmoon Faire. My name is Sam, back on camera. We got some pretty decent lighting. And this video is going to be my favorite cards of the expansion. The cards I think that are the most fun, most interesting, and cards that could be contenders in top meta decks. I don't know if they will be, but that's why it's fun, right? Before we get into this list, I want to remind you guys to like and subscribe. It helps the channel a ton, so thank you so much. Let's get into this list. And we're going down the list from like Demon Hunter, Druid, down to Warrior, and then we'll do neutrals at the end. There's about 4 max per class. I think there's about 25 cards total in this list. So let's get into this. First, we have the Demon Hunter Legendary Il'gynoth. It's a 4-mana 2/6 with lifesteal, and your lifesteal damages the enemy hero instead of healing you. I really like this card because it feels really Demon Hunter-y. It feels like Migo Face, right? But the lifesteal hurting the opponent instead of healing you, doesn't seem like it would fit in either class. Like, I don't think it would fit in Paladin or Priest, which do have a lot of lifesteal. Maybe Warlock, but admittedly, Demon Hunter's kind of taken on that pain and suffering and big demon archetype more than Warlock has recently. Warlock has kind of taken on more of a zoo, controlling aspect, and I really like this card, and I think it fits really well into the Demon Hunter identity. I think it's an interesting card. I think as Demon Hunter solidifies itself more within the meta and as a class, this is an effect I want to see that's a little different and outside of the other realms of class identities. For the next spot, we have Stilt Steppers, a 3-mana 4/1 with Battlecry, draw a card. If you play it this turn, give your hero +4 attack this turn. I like this card for 2 reasons. The first one being, I like the idea in this expansion of drawing cards, and there's a condition along with that. So Demon Hunter has 2 of them. It's Stilt Stepper and a different one, and I believe the other one is a 2-mana draw 2, and then if you play those cards, you draw 2 more. And Warlock has one also where you draw 2 minions. If they're demons, discount their cost by 2. I think those are really interesting ways to do draw. And I think this really fits in, and along with the next card you'll see in a second, fits into this Demon Hunter class identity, which is buffing based on condition. Which, what I mean by that is, this card gives your hero attack, which is a great part of the Demon Hunter identity, if you play this card that you drew, which you may or may not be able to. The next one, the Bladed Lady, the 6-mana 6/6 demon, costs 1 if you have 6 or more attack. Neither of these cards just give you the benefit. You need to have a condition met. That would be drawing the card, having 6 attack. Bladed Lady also has Rush, which does not hurt. And I really like that condition based on you get attack, or if your attack is good enough, you complete this condition. I think that's really interesting for Demon Hunter, and I think it really expands, but also really fits nicely into the class identity that exists for it already. Really excited to play Demon Hunter in this expansion, both aggro and probably Soul Demon Hunter, which will probably exist. But let's get into the last card for Demon Hunter, and that is the 3-mana 3/2 weapon, Dreadlord's Bite. It has Outcast, deal 1 damage to all enemies. This card obviously does not replace the Eldrachi Warblades. This goes into an aggro deck. It's a well-statted weapon, and it also hurts things on the board and the enemy hero. So I think this really also fits really well into the powerful weapons that Demon Hunter already has at its disposal, as well as the Outcast mechanic that it can take advantage of really well. You can even draw into it with double jump. I don't think you want to run that, but you could. I just really like the way this card is designed. I really like the stats of the weapon. I really like how this weapon can push aggro Demon Hunter from a place that is really low really low impact 1-cost cards to a weapon that is a little better than Umberwing, but maybe not as good as Marrow Slicer. For Druid, we have the 4-mana 2/2 Kiri, Chosen of Elune. As Battlecry, add a Solar Eclipse and a Lunar Eclipse to your hand, and I believe Solar Eclipse says a 2-mana spell that makes your next spell cast twice, and Lunar Eclipse is a 2-mana spell that deals 3 damage to a minion. I believe it's just minions, and discounts your next spell by 2. I really like how they're kind of expanding on that combo idea. It's making combo a little more consistent. The Eclipses are spells you can just put in your deck naturally. I think that making Druid the combo deck of the meta is a really good way. They kind of can do a little more consistent with ramp, and now these spells and this legendary. If you're going to put those spells in your deck, you're putting this legendary in your deck also. I'm just really interested to see how Malygos Druid kind of breaks away from the guardian animals and into more of its own archetype that doesn't need guardian animals, because I think that card's super boring. But moving on, we have a card that's not boring. Umbral Owl, 7-mana 4/4 with Rush. Costs 1 less for each spell you've cast this game. This fits really well into the Druid identity. They have a lot of low-cost spells and even zero-cost spells. And even in Biggin, which is give all minions in your deck +2/+2, they cost 1 more. This cancels it out because it'll go to 8 and immediately back down to 7. I think this card, the condition of this card, costing 1 less for each spell, is very Druidy. I think there's a deck that's eventually fits into. I don't know. I think this card's super interesting. I don't think we've seen a card like this in Druid aside from that Malt Muncher, which was like what was it, like an 8 or 10 mana 8/8 with Rush, but it costs 2 less for each. Treant Druid never really became a thing. This card seems like much more of a thing, and I'm excited for it. I'm excited to play around in Theorycraft with this card in low spell Druid. For Hunter, we have Ringling's Rifle. It's the legendary weapon of Hunter. It's a 4-mana 2/2 that says after your hero attacks, discover a secret and cast it. Secret Hunter, and I think more to lesser extent Secret Mage, but Secret Hunter look to get value off of their secrets, control the board in some way with their secrets to create their own tempo swings. We saw that before with Kobolds and Catacombs, and had the ultimate value engine, Rexar, the Death Knight Rexar. We don't have that now. It's been a few years. And we don't have Spellstone, which summons 3/3 wolves every time you play a secret, or it summons 3/3 wolves, it upgrades, and it's really powerful. But we have Ringling's Rifle, and this card kind of helps that secret value. It plays secrets that are not in your deck. It is also a weapon. I think it's really important that Secret Hunter gets this card. I'm not sure if Secret Hunter will be in the meta. I think that it might be a little not aggressive enough to keep up with how aggressive and strong the meta is. For example, Pure Paladin just summons big things. Demon Hunter just has big attack, and Face Hunter is just so aggressive. I'm not sure if Secret Hunter is poised or not, but I think in the future, as those decks rotate out and new cards are released, this card becomes really powerful and a great value generation for Hunter. But at 8 mana, we have our first spell, Jewel of N'Zoth. Summon 3 friendly Death Rattle minions that die in this game. The issue with Death Rattle Hunters has always kind of been that, specifically right now, they don't have enough late game value. You take care of their threats, their Bloated Pythons, their Zixor Primes, and they're done. They're out. But Jewel of N'Zoth helps refill the board. You can cast it twice because it's an epic, and it gets that late game value that Death Rattle Hunter needed. I'm really excited to play with this, both in Death Rattle and Highlander Hunter. I think it's a good card in both of those, so I'm excited to see this card in action. And for the last Hunter card, we have Trampling Rhino. He's a 5-mana 5/5 beast with Rush. After this attacks and kills a minion, the excess damage hits the hero. We saw a card like this called Knuckles back in Mean Streets of Gadgetzan. It was a 3 attack, 7 health minion without Rush. This is just good. It's immediate board presence. It's aggressive. I think that this card fits into any deck that wants to run Volkelt, Face Hunter, or Highlander Hunter. because you're going to draw it as the second or third card based on your curve, based on the cards in your deck, and it's going to help get your opponent's health down even more. It's just a really good, well-statted card. I'm excited to play with it. And for Mage, we have a deck that is jaw-dropping, the Deck of Lunacy. And I realize I said deck and not card. It is a card that is jaw-dropping. It's a 2-mana legendary spell. Transform spells in your deck into ones that cost 3 more. But they keep their original cost. This card's powerful. The randomness, you can kind of curate that, right? Like if you have a bunch of 1-mana spells, they're going to become 4-mana spells. You're never going to get secrets. I don't think mages have 0-cost spells right now. And this card doesn't have to be just in a spell mage. That was my initial thought. This could be in a Highlander mage. Could even be in a oh my gosh, I just thought it could be in Cyclone mage. Like just making all those 1-cost spells better, and then discounting them with sorcerer permanents. This card's nuts. This card's really good. I'm gonna like it right now a ton, and the second it kills me with 4 fireballs that cost 1, I'm gonna roll my eyes and close the client. But for now, I'm really excited about this card. But it's only 1, and you can't generate it that easily, except for Magic Trick. I was gonna say it's only good if you draw it, but if you can just generate it, that's even worse. I am ready for Deck of Lunacy's Wild Ride. I'm here for it. Fingers crossed it does not become that prevalent, but we'll see. For Paladin, this card also makes me roll my eyes a bit too. It's an 8-mana 7/5 High Exarch Ural. It has Battle Cry. If your deck has no neutral cards, gain Rush, Lifesteal, Taunt, and Divine Shield. This is a Zilliax on steroids. It already slots into a really powerful deck with really powerful cards. I don't see any reason why you don't play this card. You take out something like Murgle McGurgle and it slots in so much better. I don't know. I am here for our pure Paladin Overlords. I'm not sure if I'm going to enjoy that ride, but that's why I have Devolving Missiles and other silence cards. But no, in all seriousness, this card is very powerful and a powerful deck, and I'm excited to play with that deck. I know I said I was going to roll my eyes at it, but I would be lying if I wouldn't say that this might be one of my day 1 decks, just because it is that good. But we also have a really interesting card, a card that I think Paladin has wanted for a very long time. Hammer of the Naru. It's a 6-mana 3/3 Battle Cry. Summon a 6/6 Holy Elemental with Taunt. This card is pretty well, the weapon's pretty well statted. 3 durability is really powerful, but the 6-mana 6/6 Holy Elemental with Taunt is just incredibly powerful. It's a really good tempo play. If it could probably slot out something in Pure Paladin as well, maybe even Libram, but I think Libram wants to keep their curve lower so they can cycle and draw a bit more. I don't know. This card is really interesting. Kind of scared of this one too, because this is just a ton of board presence. But we'll see how Paladin comes around, and if Paladin remains tier 1, we'll be playing some Paladin. For Priest, this is one of the coolest cards I think I've seen. 4-mana 4/4, legendary, the Nameless One. Battlecry, choose a minion, become a 4/4 copy of it, then silence it. So this not only takes your opponent's value card, whatever that may be, but also silences it. So it has Death Rattle. If it's a big attack minion, it's silenced. And so like say Devout Pupil gets the Blessing of Authority on it, becomes a Divine Shield Taunt with 12 attack, 13 health. Well, now it's silenced with no Divine Shield and Taunt, and you have a 4/4 Divine Shield Taunt. It's just a really interesting card, and I really have liked playing the limited amount of control pieces I've played. I've really enjoyed playing. That was such a tongue twister to get out. But I've really enjoyed playing it. I keep doing this too. I really enjoyed playing it, and I'm going to probably play a bit more on this and probably join the dark side and Wicked Good, who loves playing Control Priest. For Rogue, we have Tenwu of the Red Smoke. 2-mana 3/2 Battle Cry. Return a friendly minion to your hand. It costs 1 this turn. There's a lot you can do with this card. My initial thought is you can put it into your Miracle Secret deck and get some more of those combos off, return a Wand Maker or an Edwin to your hand for bigger for bigger turns and more generation. There's a 1-mana 1/2 Pirates, I believe, in this expansion, which deals 1 damage to each card played. Deals 1 damage to a minion for each card you played this turn. You could probably throw that in with that and deal a bunch of damage to a minion or 2 minions. I think this card has a lot of combo capabilities. There's probably an interaction I am missing, but the way this is worded and the way this looks like it works, it just seems so interesting. Next is a spell, which it's a spell I believe Rogue was waiting for a while. It's a 3-mana Cloak of Shadows. Give your hero stealth for 1 turn. This is kind of like Time Out. It was a Paladin spell from Boomsday, I believe, that made your hero immune for a turn. This makes it so your opponent can't attack you, but you are susceptible to AoE. And I think this fits Rogue's identity of sneaky, stealthy, and I don't know where this fits in. I kind of thought that maybe it would fit into like an aggressive deck where you're like, oh, I might die this turn, let's stealth, and then we can kill the opponent next turn. I don't think this fits into a control Rogue deck. I don't think those exist, but we have a controlled Demon Hunter deck right now. I would not be surprised if a control Rogue deck in some capacity shows up. Not in my Theorycraft. It's not going to be there. But I think that there is something to be said for this card and how it fits with a Rogue class identity. And if it will be played, I'm not sure, but the card itself is just so interesting. Then we have Swindle. I don't think there's a ton of common cards on here. I know this isn't the first, but it's a really interesting tutor spell. It's a 2-mana draw a spell. So it's not a card. It pulls a spell out of your deck. If you combo it, you draw a minion. You can prep this for 0-mana draw 2. This card, there's not much to say about it. It's pretty much right there on the card. It just seems very, very powerful, and I think that Miracle Seeker Rogue will exist in a different capacity next expansion. I'm waiting for the Vicious Syndicate report to show me, because I cannot think for myself, obviously. But no, I'm just excited to see how Seeker Miracle Rogue evolves. And this card is just, it's a chin scratcher, if you will. It just seems so interesting. I'm excited to play around with it. For Shaman. Now, I think there's a lot of interesting things in Shaman. The Enhancement Shaman seems interesting. And it feels a lot like Demon Hunter, but a little less committed. But I really wanted to talk about this card. Revolve. 1 mana, transform all minions into random ones of the same cost. All minions. This is like a mass silence. And I really like it. I really like that Shaman, control Shaman specifically. It's not devolving missiles. It's better. It's your opponent has a wide board. You're not guaranteed to hit everything with devolving missiles. This hits all minions. I think this is just a really cool silence effect that Shaman gets, and I think it's the most interesting card out of all of the cards shown for Shaman's expansion. It's a little boring. It's not 5 mana, 5/5, right? It's the legendary. It's a 5 mana minion that gives your hero +2 attack and Wind Fury on your turn. This is just mass silence for 1 mana, and it also can change your minions. So if you have low impact minions, they may become a little more impactful. That's a weird way of saying it. They may become more impactful, but the goal of this card is just silence the opponent's minions. For Warlock, my favorite class. The class that got neutered for the Sins of Wild. We have one of the coolest legendaries. I'm really excited to talk about this in my Theorycraft video tomorrow. It's a Tictoctus. TikTok? No, it's a Tictoctus. A 6 mana 8/8 battle cry. Remove the top 5 cards from your deck or corrupt. And if you corrupt it, so if you play a card that costs more than that, you corrupt, your opponent's deck removes those 5 cards instead. This card's really cool because it's both a control tool and a zoo tool. You can just play a 6 mana 8/8 in zoo and it's good. Like, it's just powerful. And you can even discount it with the free admission, the draw 2 minions if they're demons, discount them by 2. I think this card's really powerful, and it just disrupts combo and kind of bridges that gap of fatigue in control matchups. I think this card's awesome. It's yet to be known if it's going to see play, if Control Warlock will be a thing, if Zoo Warlock will be a thing as well. Remember, that deck kind of got nerfed pretty hard. But I'm hopeful, I'm excited, especially because of the next card, Deck of Chaos. 6 mana legendary spell, swap the cost and attack of all minions in your deck. So, Warlock has a whole bunch of late game cards that cost a lot and have relatively low attack. Good example is like Zeraku. It's a 8 mana 4/12, but now with this it becomes a 4 mana 8/12. Yes, and that's the same for a lot of cards. Sociologist Militia becomes a 5 mana 7/5, and it kind of makes all those late game cards more playable for Warlock. Again, if you draw this card, I'm gonna play this card. Obviously, I love Warlock. I hope I pull this in my packs. But I always kind of felt like, like a joking way that Blizzard realized they made Warlock's late game cards cost too much. So instead of buffing all of them, now they are just putting this in the game to adjust those costs. But I'm interested to play. I'm excited to play this card. I'm excited to play some big Warlock. It seems like one of those cards that if you play, you're most likely going to win, but you have to play the card. And if you don't, you just have a bunch of late game stuff that doesn't help you, which isn't very good admittedly. Excited to play with this card, excited to put a deck together with this card, or just net deck. Just excited for this card in general. Really excited for this card though. Again, I do lean more towards that Control Warlock more than Zoo, but I'll play any Warlock, any form, any day. This is 4 mana spell, Cascading Disaster. Destroy a random enemy minion, not that great. However, it also has Corrupt, you destroy 2. You can Corrupt it again to destroy 3. This is a Control Warlock card. It's really powerful, Yashraj. You can add destroy 3 random minions back to your hand twice if you play both of them in the same way. I don't know, I'm really excited for Control Warlock. I hope it sees play. I hope there's a deck that becomes at least tier 3. I'll take tier 4 even. Just give me a Control Warlock. Please. Blizzard. Please. But this card that was weird, I'm sorry. But Blizzard, please give me a Control Warlock. But this card just kind of seems like it's gonna help fit that mold much better. For Warrior got kind of that menagerie build to it. We have Ringmaster Walty, a 5 mana 3/5 with Battlecry, draw a mech, dragon, and a pirate. This kind of reminds me of Curator, where you drew a beast, Murloc, and dragon from your deck, I believe. And there's a bunch of cards that in this archetype they're pushing benefit from having different minion types, and including a Zoth, which is one of the Old God legendaries. I'm excited to play the archetype. I'm hesitantly excited to play the archetype. I'm excited to see how people build it, but I think that this card is so important for that archetype. And it's kind of something we haven't seen from Warrior, this specific tutoring card draw, or much card draw at all, but this one specifically. So I'm excited, hesitantly excited to see and play Ringmaster Walty. Whatley, maybe? So I could have put all the Old Gods here. I easily could have, but I want to just put this one here. Cthulhu the Shatter. 10 mana 6/6. At the start of the game, break into 5 pieces. Battlecry, deal 30 damage, randomly split among all enemies. So this card I like because those spells are actually pretty good. I don't have them here, but there's 4 different spells. One which summons a 6/6 taunt, one which deals 7 damage split amongst all enemies, one destroys a minion, and one I think just deals AoE damage. I think it's like Excavated Evil or Hellfire that way. But then you put Cthulhu in your deck, and then when you draw it, he deals 30 damage split amongst all enemies. It just seems like a really good control tool. Like, you had Elysiana, which took the game to the turn limit. Now you have Cthulhu, which once you play and draw it, you just win the game. So I don't know, I'm excited for this card specifically because of that. All the Old Gods seem really powerful, but this one just seems like it has the most direct use for it. And I'm really excited to play with this card, and really excited to play the next card in control decks as well, Horrendous Growth. It's a 2-mana 2/2 with Corrupt, gain +1/+1, and you can corrupt this all you want. The fact that it's such a low-cost minion means that it's going to get corrupted a ton. You put 2 in these deck, you're just playing out a control game till the end. You can have like a 2-mana 8/8, 9/9, 12/12, whatever. It's going to be powerful, especially once you're into those last waning hours of the game. Don't really have much to say about this card besides that. It just seems like it slots pretty easily into a control deck, and I'm really excited to see how else it does. Then we have the 1-mana 1/3 Safety Inspector, who has Battle Cry, shuffle the lowest cost card in your hand into your deck, and draw a card. This card, I like this card because it kind of reminded me of when I was first playing back in Mean Streets / Unguro, when I was playing Arena Warlock. And I always kind of got to this point where I would draw, like, say, Mistress of Mixtures at the end of the game. Well, this card isn't very good. It doesn't do anything. It's a 2-mana, it's a 1-mana 2/2. But if I have this card, I can send that back to my hand and draw another card. That's not the only application for this card, obviously. This is just Cycle, which is good. But it just kind of feels like this is just a good card to have. Maybe for control decks, maybe for aggro decks. It's so well statted, too. I think it slots into a lot of different places. And I think it's a card that a lot of decks want to have. I believe this is the last card. We will double check. But it is Circus Amalgam. 4-mana 4/5. It has Taunt. This mini has all types. Chillwind Yeti is crying into its pillow right now. I'm really excited. I have a really cool theory craft for this card. But I think that this is kind of what Amalgam's wanted. A little more than just a 3-mana 3/4 or a 4-mana that summons. This card is so cool. This card is so well designed around the all archetype, especially in a expansion that has that menagerie synergy going. So I'm really excited to play with this card in some different classes. But I think that's going to do it. Oh no, we have one more. I was wrong. We have Gyro. It's a 3-mana 3/2 with Battle Cry. If you played an Elemental last turn, deal 3 damage. There's a few decks that can take advantage of this. Mage got a whole bunch of Elemental support, and I'm sure that Shaman can too. But I think this is an effect that Elementals have wanted for a while. I think it's an effect that we haven't really seen that's been that impactful on board. 3 damage is really nothing to scoff at. We've had that Scale Rider, right? The 3-mana 3/3 that dealt 2 damage if you're holding a dragon. This just seems better. Contingent on if you're playing Elementals, but the other one's contingent on if you're playing dragons. So I don't know. I feel like this in a tempo deck fits really, really well. Now we're back to the beginning. Guys, that'll do it for the list of my favorite cards this expansion that I'm most excited about. Tomorrow I'll see you with my theory craft, which I'm really excited to show you. So guys, take it easy. Remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Take it easy. Enjoy. If you're opening packs, post your goldens in your Discords, Hearthstone, r/Hearthstone, wherever. And have a beautiful